Welcome. I welcome everybody to this virtual session, virtual press conference. Uh, I want to thank each one of you for making out time to attend this press conference. And as already told, now you have seen that that landmark figure of 5 lakh crore we have already crossed. Currently, we are at 5 lakh 5,000 crore. Despite the pandemic and the challenging times that we have seen due to the support given by the subscribers, and obviously a big support has come from all of you. I want to thank each one of you because you have given a wide publicity to NPS as a product, APY as a product, and more awareness was created through that. So for that, definitely all of you, print media, digital media, everybody, I want to thank each one of you for giving this support. As you have seen, the growth in AUM, even during these volatile times when the markets are also not showing some kind of a regularity, still we have achieved almost 21% growth in assets under management from 31st March during this 6-month period. That depends to a great extent on the continuous flow that we have seen during this period from all the sectors, whether it is central government, state government, corporates, uh, retail investors. Everywhere we have seen a steady growth in flow. And apart from that, credit goes to all our 7 fund managers because they have managed these funds very prudently during this period and going into the right kind of sector, so that you have seen the returns also, the kind of returns that we have generated over a long period of time, because as all of us know, pension is a long-term product. So obviously we have to look at a return of maybe 10 years and more. And in that count, actually, we stand ahead of many other products available in the market. And added to that, the kind of income tax benefits that we give, that almost makes it an unbeatable kind of a product. Apart from that, what we have seen during this period is that the right kind of age group, people in the right kind of age group, maybe between 25 to 35, more of them are joining, which is auguring well for us because this is the right age segment where we feel if people join, they can really build up a corpus for their future support post retirement at the age of 60. So that is also going good. Lot of changes we have brought in, and the recent developments were mostly towards online onboarding in NPS to ensure that during the pandemic when the customers cannot come to the points of presence or our distribution channel personally and submit their physical forms. So how to make this onboarding more and more user friendly, sitting at their home if they can do it. So OTP based onboarding. We have made Aadhaar as a point of onboarding for banks. Now UIDAI also has given us permission that banks can use Aadhaar for onboarding their customers the way they are using it for all other banking purposes. For change of nomination, we have now put in place e-nomination facility. Suppose somebody is nominated, one wants to change nomination, they don't need to come to the POP. They can do it through online processes. We have auto continuation of NPS account after 60 years also. We are allowing account to be continued after 70 because a lot of people, they don't need pension just at the age of 60. So we are not forcing anybody to go out of the system at the age of 60. If they wish, they can continue up to the age of 70 also and build up a substantial corpus. We have made overseas citizens of India at par with NRI, so they also can come and join our system, which was not allowed earlier. Indian employees of foreign embassy, that also we are allowing them because a lot of foreign embassies are there, especially in Delhi, and there are also many employees, Indian employees are working for them. Uh, Here before they were not allowed to join because of obvious reasons, but now it is allowed. We have simplified the process of joining for corporates. Employers are permitted to authenticate employees' NPS application forms through email. Bulk authorization of employees' application on letterhead or online portal. So that makes the employer's job also very, very easy. I'm very happy to share that 45 central public sector undertakings, they have already shifted their existing superannuation funds to NPS because they see better employee benefit through income tax as well as returns. And another 3, 4 big CPSC, central public sector enterprises, they are on the process of shifting. So far as awareness is concerned, we are doing webinars through FICCI, through Indian Chamber of Commerce. We have done through online portals for corporates. We engaged one training agency for last 2 years. Almost 3,000 sessions were organized, where more than 1,40,000 participants were trained about NPS and APY. So all said and done, efforts are on from all angles to ensure that people are a little more aware. But as you know, though we have crossed 5 lakh crore, but pension as a concept is still at its nascent stage in India. So definitely we require more help from you to popularize the product, and our efforts also from our side will be going on. Uh, we are encouraging more and more retail and corporate onboardings because central and state government, as you know, by their notification, if they join after a certain cutoff date, they have to necessarily come into the NPS process. But we are encouraging the voluntary segment so that people who are not employed or self-employed, they also can come and join here. APY itself is a really very great experience for us. Close to 3 million new subscribers were onboarded during this pandemic period, during this lockdown period. That itself shows the robustness of the system, the help that we got from the distribution channels. So with that, I once again thank you for attending this session and really supporting PFRDA and NPS and APY for taking the products to the masses in a big way. So if you have any questions and all that, that we can answer now. Thank you so much.
Hello.
Hello.
One by one, you can ask questions. You can mention your name.
Yeah, sir.
I
hope I am audible. This is Shrivats from Business Line, sir.
Yeah, you are absolutely audible, Mr. Srivats.
Sir, congratulations on your milestone. Now, I am curious to understand that what is now going to be your aspiration or priority on the journey forward. So, will the regulator look at achieving a sort of a target in the next 1 year as far as the AUM goes? How will you look at growing this?
See, yes, definitely we have a target. We have a target. The target is for APY, maybe we are trying to reach 30 million customers as at 31st March 2021. We know it will be a big jump from where we are, But the way the flows are coming over last couple of months, especially August, September, we have seen lot of traction, lot of traction. Banks are also helping us in a big way. So that way, that is the target for us. And so far as NPS also is concerned, NPS at least 7 to 7.5 lakh new onboardings that we are trying this time. So as we said, many sectors we have enabled who were not allowed to join NPS earlier, that we have enabled. And the operational guidelines are also being eased to ensure that more and more people can join sitting at their home through online processes. So I believe that will make the job simpler for us, but efforts are on. And thirdly, one more area that we are working on is the financial awareness in general, and awareness about pension specifically. Because as I said in my initial address, that people are not aware about pension, or even if they are aware about pension, they want to delay that decision making till a much later date. And now also we understand people are telling us that I am retiring, but my corpus is only so much. So that's why we have allowed them to go up to 70 years. So these are the basic targets that we are looking at. That will
And
be
sir,
achieving.
you mentioned 7 to 7.5 lakh new onboarding, right?
Yeah,
That
yes.
is on the voluntary side. And is it for the entire 2021 or the next 6 months?
That is for the entire this thing, because NPS also what happened because of these lockdown related issues. So many things that online processes that we have devised or designed that could not be put in place. So that got delayed. Most of the things are now online. So hopefully another, whatever we have done now, another say almost 5 lakh we want to add during the next 6 months. That is the idea, like, because
Sir,
we have already crossed 2 lakh.
yeah. Sir,
Yeah.
one last question. You referred to PFRDA crossing the 5 lakh crore milestone. Now, what was the AUM as of October 15th last year?
October 15th, I
Roughly, sir.
offhand I don't have right now, but I
And
can say that March 2020 it was 4 lakh 17,000 crore.
okay.
Uh, but October 15th, I don't have really. But what we have seen year over year, last at least 5 years, we have seen anything between 30 to 35% year on year growth. So now we have crossed just a little over 6 months and we have shown 21% growth. So if it continues like that, if you annualize it, definitely, I believe we'll cross that 30% growth mark definitely this year.
So this is compounded growth, right, sir?
Compounded growth year after year that we have seen is about
Okay.
30%.
Okay. Great, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Srivats.
Tan Sahu from Financial Express.
Yes, Mr. Sahu.
My question is when is going to provide minimum assured return scheme? Even CAG even commented on this. So is you are
Yeah,
looking at
yeah. Actually, already initial talks were held sometime last year, but what we felt at that point of time after discussion was that people were ready to provide only capital guarantee. And we are not very sure whether customers will be ready only for capital guarantee part of it. Because if you see the other financial markets also, insurance sector, whatever guaranteed products were there, they are slowly withdrawn with the regulator feeling that giving a guarantee for a long period of time may not be in the interest of the organization. And SEBI also does not really encourage any guaranteed product, but it is a part of our act. Definitely, we have to do it. we are forming a committee and we'll have to take actuarial inputs also because it has different connotations. The moment you give a guarantee, the capital adequacy requirement of the fund managers go up. Currently, what we are doing is absolutely mark to market. So we are not taking any investment risk on ourselves. But the moment you give a guarantee, despite market moving down, say 5%, if you are still giving a guarantee, no, the base level will be maintained. So obviously, the pension fund managers will be managing those funds. They have to bring in additional capital. So that's why actuarial inputs are necessary. We'll be forming a committee very shortly, since it is part of our act. Definitely, during this financial year, we'll formulate a product, and thereafter we'll give it to the board for their approval, and after we'll launch it. That's the target line.
The launch of this product this year, but clear?
Maybe the product will be finalized because not only the capital requirement, but there are going to be different charge structures. As you know, currently the pension fund manager, they charge only a particular fund management fee. The moment you ask for a guarantee everywhere, there is separate guarantee fee. That also we have to decide what should be the ideal guarantee fee so that the pension fund manager also can recover their part of the capital. So these are the two things and very crucial things that we'll be looking at, and that definitely certain inputs from outside experts will be necessary. That will be doing maybe next 6 months. You will see that a product is there, but the launching of the product may take some time because it needs a lot of system developments also.
Have to be paid a guarantee fee for that.
It is. Wherever guaranteed products are there, there is a guarantee charge.
Okay. And I may ask one more question. How has been the return last couple of years of the PS?
You are asking about the returns? The returns for a longer tenure we have already given, 10-11 years. But if you ask for 2 years or 3 years, that we can give you separately. That can be sent to you separately, because we don't have those figures right now. Because pension being a long-term product, look at long-term. Yes, we look at short-term these things also. But this year also, equity returns are certainly down. You know, the equity markets during March did not perform at all. There was almost 40% degrowth from where we have seen in January or early part of February. So there was a huge downfall. Of course, the markets have regained a lot after that also. But current year, equity returns will be less. It will be somewhere around maybe 4-5%, but that we have to check and get back to you. But our bond and our government security returns continue to be in double digit for quite some time. And
about this corporate onboarding of corporates into the scheme. So if I may ask, for the corporate sector really picked up, or it is still going at a much slower pace than the government sector?
Corporate sector is really picking up, and government sector, as you know, because this depends on the actual recruitment that is happening, new people joining and all that. So 2004 onwards, so whoever had come, initial stage, there was a huge number of onboardings, but slowly it has come down a little bit. So now corporates and voluntary segment, the retail sector, there we see a better number, good number.
I missed the initial presentation. Can it be shared with?
Yeah, it can be shared. You can kindly give your this thing to our team. They will be in touch with you, Mr. Sahu. It can be shared.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, sir. Rajita from Business Today. So two
Yeah.
questions. One, if you can name couple of CPSEs and corporates whom you have taken on board recently, and secondly, update on systemic withdrawal plan and variable annuities that in the last press meet you had mentioned.
Couple of this thing you wanted. So one will be Indian Oil, and one could be NTPC. They are all big corporates.
Okay, when did they come on board? This year, 2020?
2021 they have started onboarding, and a big good number has come.
And corporate private players?
Corporate private players. Private players, already we have almost all the private players. If you look at IT sector, all big IT companies today, TCS, Infosys, Wipro, everybody is there with us. But the issue there is not onboard. The issue there is how many employees they are really joining. So the number of employees joining is very less. It varies between 1.5 to 2% of the total employee force. So they are also, we are working with the banks because they have the salary accounts with corporates, that whenever they are joining afresh, so then along with the salary account, you give them a choice of opening NPS also. So that way, more and more people can. Some banks have started doing it in a big way. So let us see how it goes.
Okay. And SWP and variable annuities.
SWP, yes, already we had some interaction with an actuarial firm. There are some more presentations that we are waiting for from. Actually, this experience also we have to get it from outside, where they are giving pension through a systematic withdrawal. Because it is not like a normal systematic withdrawal which may go out in maybe 10-15 years. You have to look for a much longer period. The kind of annuity that we are giving today, because the outflow or exit is only through annuity. Annuity ensures that so far the annuitant is alive, he or she will continue to get the return. So it can be 25, even 30 years. You see the kind of longevity that we see, it can be even up to 30 years. But systematic withdrawal plan, whatever is available today here, maybe will go up to 10-15 years, not beyond that. So the biggest challenge in a systematic withdrawal plan is to ensure that the corpus that person has generated lasts his or her lifetime. So there also we are taking feedbacks. Already one presentation has been given. We are working on other concepts also. Especially we are borrowing from UK and overseas markets as to how they are doing it.
Okay. So it's not expected in near future.
Not maybe not in near future, but definitely that is one thing that we are seriously looking into, and will ensure that it comes as quickly as possible.
All right. Okay, so thank you.
Sir, can I ask one more question?
Yeah.
Srivats again, sir.
Mr. Srivats, we got your figure.
Yeah.
Last year, October, the same day, it was 3,74,000 crore. So now it is
Okay.
5,05,000. So exactly 1 year we have seen 35% growth. As I was
Wow.
telling, it is between 30 to 35. So it is exactly 35.
Great. Okay. And sir, I would request your team to share that of this 5,05,000, how much is the voluntary side and how much is the government share of that?
So this 5,05,000 crore, if you look at the corporate and the other retail sector, it will be closer to 66, 67,000.
Only corporate, sir?
Only corporate will be closer to, I think, I'll give you the figure here.
Okay.
Just 1 second. Only corporate will be 52,000 crore, and purely retail is about 16, 17,000 crore. So all taken together, it is about 69,000 crore.
Okay. Okay. Great. Fine, sir. And sir, one more thing on, is there any update for us on the new pension fund manager bidding? What is the update on that? Have you heard from DFS?
Then that whatever DFS had to do, that is over.
Okay.
Actually, our board also approved formation of a committee to decide the cap on the fees,
Correct.
fund management charges. So that committee meetings have already 3 meetings have taken place. So we are expecting the report sometime next week. So
Okay.
once the report is there, maybe November, mid-November, sometimes or third week of November, we'll call a meeting to approve those rates and issue the RFP. So
Okay.
late November or early part of December, you can see the RFP. So there are a lot of progress has made, so that we can say with some confidence that that is the timeline that we are keeping.
Sir, what
Sure.
is the manager's fee right now?
Currently, the fund manager's charges are pretty small. It is only 1 basis point. So we are trying to make it align with the actual reality as to what it should be. It should not be too much, which should not pinch into the fund manager, subscribers corpus. But at the same time, it should be that much which will allow them to have best in the class infrastructure, IT, manpower, research capabilities. These are ultimately in a long term that will sustain the kind of returns that you see today.
What is the idea?
What is?
Rate should be?
That committee report is supposed to come next week. Thereafter, we take it to the, and ultimately it is subject to board approval only, we'll decide. So, but definitely whatever 1 basis point you are seeing now today, it is going to increase. Definitely it is going to increase, but it should not be such also. We are aware that we want to keep it as a low cost product, that it will not unnecessarily create a problem for the subscribers, because definitely it is not going to be in the range of what you see mutual funds. Never. No way.
How much mutual funds are charging?
Mutual fund charging different kinds of rates. Actually, they have a concept called total expense ratio. Here they include fund management and other related expenses. And for equity funds, it can vary between 2.5%. So the regulator SEBI is putting a cap that if your fund size is this much, how much you can keep as the maximum charges. And that they are free to charge a fund management fee, but that also is much, much higher. Even for a liquid mutual fund or a index fund, which is a passive kind of fund management, where you just follow the index, either Sensex, Nifty, or whatever index you like. Also, I think it goes up over 10, 15 basis points. As we are at only 1 basis point.
Sorry, sir. I just want to confirm. This is Alex from Bloomberg Quint. You were talking about NPS right now, right?
Right. Yes. We are talking about NPS, this management thing, that RFP that is pertaining to NPS.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, if I may ask one more question, this,
Yes.
there is a draft policy doing the rounds. I think it is Ministry of Social Justice on senior citizens, right? So does PFRDA have a view on it because it impinges on income security for the seniors and aspects of pension is involved there.
Mhm.
So is that coming before PFRDA, or is it only a ministry level program that it is going to be?
As I understand, Mr. Srivats, it will be a ministry level program. Nothing specific has come to us.
Mm.
Rather, what from our side, we have already prepared a document given to our controlling ministry on universal pension and auto enrollment. So that is under their consideration. So from our side, we have already given that. But this particular thing that you are talking about, it has never been referred to PFRDA for its opinion or inputs or.
Mhm. So how will that universal pension be different from the current regime, sir?
Actually, there what we are trying to do is to ensure that a large number of people they come under the top pension, which is not happening today. Especially the focus will be on the unorganized group or small businesses having less than maybe 20 people. Because as you know, more than 20 people, there is have to go to EPFO. So less than 20 people, these micro industries, very small industries, they are employing maybe 5, 10, 15 people. So whether we can bring them under the ambit of NPS, or if required, if they are not able to contribute to that level, whether we bring them under the coverage of APY, that we are working out with the ministry. So there will be some sort of compulsion on the employer that we are proposing, that they have to be auto enrolled as and when they join. They have to be auto enrolled, and if the employer also can contribute a little bit, balance contribution will come from the subscriber himself or herself, and will have a large number of people. It's not that everybody needs to have a huge amount of pension on this thing, retirement, but at least some security, some income security. So it will inculcate a sense of saving amongst the people. They will know that it is important. And at the same time, thereafter, if they wish to increase their own contribution at any point of time, you know, NPS gives all kinds of flexibilities at a later point of time. So that there. So, but that is at discussion stage.
But don't they automatically come under APY, sir? The small micro businesses.
They come. But again, if you look at the APY segment, it is absolutely a voluntary segment.
Okay.
Actually, we got this idea from UK. There is a theory called nudge theory. The nudge theory say that you don't force anybody, but at the same time, there will be some kind of a compulsion so that people choose the right kind of investment which will be in his or her interest in the future. So some kind of a push at the initial stage. And once you come into the system, you cannot go out within a certain period of time. And what happens once people are there in the system for 2, 3, 4 years, compulsorily, thereafter you see the propensity to go out also decreases.
Hi, sir. This is Alex. Sorry that my network fluctuated a little bit when you were speaking about the committee that is studying the fee that is charged by fund managers for NPS. And I'm sorry that I'm going to have to ask you to repeat that section a little bit, perhaps if you can. I just wanted to understand the composition of the committee and confirm it's going to come up next week with its result. And then what is the process that's going to be followed post that? And by when can we expect that the higher expense will be put in place?
One is that first question you want to know the composition. Sorry, it's a little difficult to this thing. But we can say that we have taken outside experts even from the mutual fund industry. Couple of people are there from the outside, other 2, 3 people are there from inside. So it's a mix of outside expertise and inside experience. Both are there. And yes, next week we are hoping in another week's time they will send their report. And after that report is with us, thereafter we'll call a board meeting. So board meeting may be sometime during second or third week of November. That we are planning. Definitely depending on the availability of the members. We have three outside members also. So according to their availability, we'll call the board meeting, and thereafter the entire RFP process, the cap, fee cap, that everything will be approved, and thereafter it will be released for people to apply as to work as pension fund managers. So that is the process we are looking at. So as I said, maybe end of November or early part of December, we can see the RFP being floated.
So currently, just one last question on this point. Currently, just so I understand the fee and how it works, you mentioned that there is a total expense ratio for mutual funds. This 1 basis point, it's charged on the assets under management. How does it work?
Yes. It works as the 1 basis point is charged on the assets under management. And apart from that, even the brokerages that they have to pay from this fee.
Okay.
It's not on the scheme. So if you look at it, their net income will be much, much less, not even that 1 basis point.
Okay.
Okay.
Understood.
So that is the situation currently.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So this Shrivas again, sir. This universal pension that you have suggested, is it going to be mandatory or optional?
Some kind of compulsion will be there, as I said, and for that maybe certain legislative changes have to be brought in. So some kind of compulsion, unless it is there, like Atal Pension Yojana also, we see without compulsion also people are coming. About 5 to 6 million new customers we are getting every year. But when we look at the unorganized sector, almost maybe 45 crore people in the unorganized sector, that's is a minuscule number, very small. So we feel that the number should increase and increase fast. So that's why this kind of compulsion, that element of compulsion will bring in. So obviously, government has to look into it. The legal issues have to be tackled with. So all these things are there.
Sir, this is Soumya. There is a question from Kalpana PTI. She has some audio issues, so that's why I'm asking. She has a question. Has there been any instance of partial withdrawal from NPS due to pandemic? And if so, then how many and how much and how many subscribers, sir?
We have this thing, partial withdrawals during this period also. So that figure I can give you, but it will be very difficult to ascertain because cause-wise partial withdrawal, maybe we do not have the data right now. We can collect and give it to you, but the partial withdrawal data is there. We have about, just wait for a minute. I'll check and I'll let you know. Just wait for a second.
Sir, if I can add to that, this is Alex again. If you're giving us partial withdrawal data, perhaps obviously cause-wise is not possible, but if you give us partial withdrawal for the first 6 months of this financial year versus last 6 months, as in same period last year, that might be.
Yeah, interestingly, actually, the partial withdrawal during this period, as I understand, has gone down. So current year, it is 8,800 partial withdrawals that we have seen in first 6 months. Sorry, first 5 months we have data up to August, and it is about 59 crore. But last year, this thing was at least 20% higher. The quantum was at least 20% higher, as I remember. So it has not
Please
gone up.
repeat the numbers
8,800.
in the first 5 months.
8814 to be precise, for last 5 months, from April to August.
And the amount is 59 crores, sir.
It is 59.5 crore.
only 60 crore rupees only?
Only 60 crore rupees was withdrawn.
But every 2 years, actual evaluation of the schemes. So, is anything on that front?
We do actual evaluation only on APY.
Others?
Because NPS, as I said, does not guarantee any return, so it does not require any actuarial evaluation. Since APY is a guaranteed scheme, as you know, that it guarantees a 8% return on accumulation, and it guarantees a 7% annuity when the person exits at the age of 60. So guarantees at two stages, so actuarial evaluation is needed. So that already we have done in 2018. The data was shared with ministry, and currently, as at 2020 March, the data is already shared with the actuarial fund. So we are hoping in another 15-20 days, their draft report will be submitted to us.
Sir, your initial sentence, the voice was broke.
So as I said, that we do actuarial valuation only for APY because it is a guaranteed product. NPS is not a guaranteed product, so the actuarial valuation is not needed there. And APY already we had done actuarial valuation in March 18, and now we are again doing at March 2020. That in another 15 days or 3 weeks time, we'll get the report, draft report first, and thereafter it will be shared with the ministry with our comments.
Sir, I do not know if you've already spoken about this. This is Alex again. Just wanted to understand you. You said in December of 2019, and there was a conversation with the ministry as well to make PFRDA the regulator for all pension products. Has there been any progress on that front, and what can we expect in terms of a timeline?
Actually, it is all part of our PFRDA amendment bill, which is currently under the consideration of ministry, and ultimately it will go to the parliament. So we are expecting whatever feedbacks we have, we are expecting it will go to the parliament maybe during the winter session, and thereafter let us see what is the ultimate outcome. Because since it is a finance bill, there is every expectation. I do not know the process, but it may be referred to a select committee.
Understood.
So if it goes to a select committee, so obviously it will take some more time. So there the timeline is really little difficult to say for me. But whatever information we have, maybe in winter session, it will go to the parliament.
Understood, sir. Thank you.
So, recently, PFRDA had invited bids for consultants to be appointed for restructuring, right, to get hive off the trust. So, what is the status? Are you getting bids? How many have you got?
Already we have got 3-4 inquiries, as I have inquired today morning. 3-4 inquiries we have already got, and some people, they have already told that they have received the EOI, expression of interest, and they are interested to look into that. So maybe by the end of this month, come to know.
Okay, sir.
Uh,
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else has any question? Excuse me, your audio is not clear. Sorry, your audio was not clear.
The audio is not clear.
Anyone else has any question, please?
Sir, this is Soumya. I am asking the question on behalf of individual, sir. Sir, we have mentioned right now that there is no actual evaluation for NPS. But as per CAG, the actual evaluation for the government employee should be there. That's the question he was wanting to ask, sir.
Oh, acha. You are talking about the CAG report where they said that no actual evaluation was done.
Yes, sir.
But
Yes, sir.
as I said against one earlier question, is that NPS being a market linked scheme, NPS does not require any actual evaluation. And nowhere in the government circular that we got in December 2003 at the inception or hereafter, we never got any intimation from the concerned ministries that a actual evaluation is required to be done. Because basically the actual evaluation should be done only on schemes where there is even a little bit of guarantee is also there, because at every point of time we have to assess how much if there is a shortfall in the assets vis-a-vis the liability, because liability will be created because of the guarantee I have provided in the scheme. So if my assets are falling short of the liabilities, so that is the assessment which in normal terms we call as actuarial evaluation. So if the assets are falling short of the liabilities, obviously we have to ensure a little bit of financial support is given to ensure that the assets are up to that level where the liabilities are. Otherwise, at the initial stage, if it is not filled up, obviously it will blow up to a proportion which will be very difficult to manage at a later point of time. But NPS does not guarantee any kind of return or guarantee any kind of benefits. It is absolutely market based, and so market returns only we are giving. Whatever market returns are there, net of charges we are passing on to the subscribers. So absolutely no actual evaluation is needed there. We cannot hear you, sorry.
Hello. Just a minute. We are taking. Guaranteed product.
हाँ हाँ, मिनिमम एश्योर्ड रिटर्न स्कीम ये एनपीएस के अंदर ही आएगा. And I want to clarify, if such kind of products are coming, there again we have to ensure for that particular product there is an actuarial valuation. And maybe every year we have to do an actuarial valuation to ensure where our. I am Bandyopadhyay. No, actually, on the video we are not able to get your this thing, what we are speaking. So we are put you on speaker in the mobile. Okay, thank you. Okay.
So, sir, Shrivats again. This, I hope I'm audible, sir.
Absolutely audible.
Yeah. So, does that mean you will have to write a reply to the CAG observation, or will it be the ministry which will have to do the reply on the CAG report?
Already our reply to that report was given to ministry.
Okay.
Now they will be taking it up.
Okay.
And see that I do not know how CAG got it, that it has to be actually evaluated. Whether there was something they were referring to a high level expert committee report, but we were never told. And as I explained,
Correct.
you will also understand, since we have not promised anything, guaranteed anything, so the question of actuarial evaluation does not come into place.
Correct. Great. And sir, do we get to see? Does that become public? The PFRDA's or the ministry's reply to the CAG observation, is it going to be laid in Parliament?
I think so, because as I understand, I have seen many newspaper reports also. Actually, this CAG report came out because it was placed in the floor of the Parliament.
Correct,
So
correct.
obviously the replies also have to be filed to the Parliament only
Okay.
for the parliamentarians to take a view on that. So obviously the ministry reply, as I understand, would go to the Parliament.
Okay, sir. Right, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. So thank you once again. If you don't have any further questions, then we can close today. But as you know, we are available. We are available always. So if you have any further questions on any facts, figures, for cross-checking, for cross-reference, you can always come back to us, to our team members, and we'll be very happy to provide all those things to you. And please continue to support us the way you have supported us all through. Because this is a long journey, as you also understand, and it is a small milestone that we have achieved, 5 lakh crore. So we have to cross many such milestones before we can really provide old age security to the people at large. So thank you once again.
Sir, if I may ask, where do you see AUMs reach 21 next year?
This year end, the way it is going, I believe that will be very close to 6 lakh crore. But nobody can actually tell about the market forces, how it will be. Maybe we are talking now, in 4 months' time, we'll cross 6 lakh crore if the markets really equity goes up, or we are affected more by the interest rates. 80% or more of our market is in fixed income. So the interest rates, if it comes down, it really helps us in a big way. So let us hope and pray the interest rates come down. RBI, despite high inflation figures, have done a very, very commendable job of managing the interest rate. Even 10 years are now below 6% 10-year government security. So let us hope that we achieve it sooner than later. But it will be very close, as I have seen, very close to 6 lakh crore. We may not reach 6 lakh, but it will be very, very close to that. That much I can tell you.
So the AUM's debt, isn't it?
AUM's almost 80% is in debt instrument, either government security or corporate bonds.
That is across all the schemes.
Not really. Some of the schemes are specific, like we
No,
have
I'm
equity
saying
scheme where 100% will be equity. But if you look at the
I'm
overall
saying
AUM,
as a aggregate level.
aggregate level, yes, that's what I am talking about. So about 5 lakh crore, maybe 4 lakh crore will be either in corporate bond and government security, more in government security and a little less in corporate debt. So that's what. So thank you all.